Hi folks, Valerie here with a road trip mystery tutorial for you. This tutorial is for the tent stitch for leg 1 in the Pennsylvania road trip mystery shawl. And I have a little swatch here that I've been working on so that I can show you all what's going to happen. As we work our shawl, we are working in this direction, and you can kind of see there's some loops here that make a V, right? And I'm sure you might be wondering, how is a V like a tent? Well, the reality is when we are wearing our shawl, this is the top up here. And as you can see, our V's have turned into some sort of tent-like impression. We're not being super literal here. Inspiration is just that. It gives us an idea of shapes and lines or colors, and then we can take that and make it into something interesting with our knitting. So these are the little tents that we're going to be doing. And I have set up to do another row here. The first 6 rows of the pattern kind of get you set up so that you have some landmarks, tent posts, to find your way here. And so here is what I refer to as the tent post. You'll see there are 3 knit stitches stacked right on top of each other in a C of garter stitch. And there's another one over here. 1, 2, 3. So those are what I consider to be my tent posts, and they're going to help me find my way. So we're going to start by knitting across. What you're doing is you're knitting to 2 stitches, well, 1 stitch before your tent post. So your tent post is the 2nd stitch from the point of the needle. So now I'm going to go down into the stitches below. I'm going to go to the very bottom of that tent post. Okay. And I'm going to insert the point of my needle, and then I'm going to yarn over around the tip and pull up a loop of yarn. And when I pull up that loop, I want it to be loose enough so that it is sitting on the right hand needle without really pulling or tugging the fabric out of place. Okay. And so then I'm going to knit 3 stitches. Again, I don't want to pull too hard, because if I pull for that very next stitch, it's going to tighten up my loop, and I don't want my loop to distort the fabric. Okay, so that first knit stitch I'm being pretty careful with, and then there's a second one, and there's a third one. And now I'm going to do my second loop. So I'm going to now take the tip of my right needle, and I'm going to go back into the end of the tent post. Okay, the same stitch I went into before. So you kind of have to fold things in half here to do that. So I've insert my needle. I'm going to wrap my yarn around the tip, and I'm going to pull that up through. Okay. If you want, if you prefer, if you find it easier, you can do that with a crochet hook. We did list a crochet hook on the packing list, and this was one of the reasons why. May not be the only reason why, but it is one of the reasons why. So if it's easier for you to use a crochet hook to pull up a loop through there, then by all means do that. I'll show you how to do that one on the next one. But I tend to like just to use my knitting needles and not have to fiddle with other tools. Again, when I pull up that loop, I want to make sure that the tension on that is not tight. I don't want it to be pulling at the hole. And I'm going to be real careful with my next stitch here so that I don't snug that up any further than it already is. Okay. So now I'm going to knit across to 1 stitch before our next tent pole. So here we are, 1 stitch before. And I told you I would show you how to do this with the crochet hook. I actually think it's kind of harder. So again, I'm going into the end of the tent post. So there's those 1, 2, 3 knit stitches there. So I'm going to insert my crochet hook end, and I'm gonna wrap that yarn around and just lift it up and through and transfer that onto the right hand needle. Okay, so then I'm going to watch my tension. I don't want to pull that too much. I'm going to be careful as I knit 1, 2, 3, and now I'm going to do the loop on the other side. And here's my little handy dandy tool, crochet hook thing again, and I'm going back into that same hole. I'm going to pull that up through, slip that over the tip of the needle, and watching my tension, I'm going to go the rest of the way. Okay, I'm going to turn around, and now I'm going to do the back side that finishes off the tents. And I'm going to do a couple knit stitches, and then it is time for me to slip, slip, knit. So there are different philosophies out there about the best way to slip, slip, knit. I'm pretty particular about how to do this one just because of the way it orients the legs of the tent post. So, or not the post, the sides of the tent. So we're going to slip this stitch knitwise. We're going to slip the loop knitwise, and then we're going to stick the tip of the left hand needle in the front of both stitches. And now you'll see we're perfectly set up to do what we call knitting through the back loop. So we're going to knit those 2 stitches together through the back loop. Okay, and then we're going to knit 1, 2, 3. And now on this side, we are not slip, slip knitting. We are going to knit 2 together. So, and that's through the front loop. That was just a standard knit 2 together. And now we're going to go ahead and get to the next one so that we can do the second tent. Okay, so here are my 2. It's a regular stitch that I'm going to slip, and then I'm going to slip the loop. I'm going to insert that left hand needle in to the front. So now I'm set to knit those 2 together through the back loop. There we go. Knit 1, 2, 3. Now we're going to knit 2 together, catching that other loop, tacking it in place, and then we'll just knit to the end of the row. And let's see what we've accomplished. Presto changeo. There we have 2 more tents. Aren't they pretty? Yay! So I hope you have fun with the tent stitch, and I hope you'll take time to go to our blog and read a little bit more about the Center County Grange Encampment and Fair, which has been going on since 1874. Our blog can be found at roadtripmystery.com.